My daughter Sara hadn't smiled in 3 weeks, not since Julia's funeral. I want you to understand what Julia meant to her. They'd been best friends since 2nd grade, same lunch table, same soccer team, same everything. When Sara got her braces off in 7th grade, Julia was the first person she called. When Julia's parents split up sophomore year, Sara slept over at her house 4 nights in a row. They weren't just friends. They were the kind of close that adults forget is possible. So when Julia died, Sara shut down. That's the only way I can describe it. She stopped eating much. She stopped texting. She'd sit in her room with the lights off and just stare at the wall. Her guidance counselor called twice. I took her to a therapist. I did everything right. I thought I was doing everything right. Her father, Michael, was worried about college applications. I know how that sounds. But you have to understand, Sara had been building toward early admission at Cornell for 2 years. Volunteer hours, AP classes, an internship at a non-profit the summer before junior year. Julia's death had come 4 months before the application deadline. Michael kept saying Sara needed something, a way to process it, something she could channel into her essays. He's the one who suggested the grief support group. It met on Thursday evenings at a community center about 12 minutes from our house. A counselor ran it, other teenagers who'd lost people. Michael thought it would help Sara find language for what she was feeling. That's how he said it. Language for what she was feeling. I thought it was a good idea too. She went every Thursday for 6 weeks. Week 4, she started eating dinner again. Week 5, she texted a friend from her chemistry class. Week 6, she came home and sat down at the kitchen table and opened her laptop and started typing her personal statement. I cried. I actually stood in the kitchen doorway and cried. I thought, she's going to be okay. I thought, we got through it. That was 8 days ago. I found the notebook last night. Sara had left her backpack open on the hallway floor, which she never does. She's meticulous about her stuff. The notebook was right on top. It had her handwriting on the cover. Not her name. Just one line, written in black marker. Secrets help us grow. That's what Julia used to say. It was their thing. I'd heard Sara repeat it a dozen times over the years. A little mantra they shared. I figured Sara had written it herself as a memorial, something to hold on to. I picked up the notebook. I shouldn't have read it. I know that. But I opened it to a random page in the middle and I started reading and I couldn't stop. It wasn't Sara's writing inside. The handwriting was different, smaller, rounder. And the entries weren't about grief. They were about Sara, detailed, things that had happened between them that I didn't know about. And between the entries, there were these short passages that read like instructions. How to handle her, how to push. What to say when she feels too stable. What to do if she starts talking to her mother. I kept flipping. Near the back, I found a page that stopped me completely. At the top, in the same small handwriting, progress notes. And below that, a list, dates and descriptions, each one tracking a shift in Sara's mood, a small erosion. They started 2 years ago. The last entry was dated 3 days after Julia died. I stood there in the hallway for a long time. My hands were shaking. I couldn't figure out who had written it. I still can't. I went to Sara's room to ask her about it, but she was asleep, and I stood in her doorway watching her breathe, and I didn't know how to begin. This morning I went back to the hallway to get the notebook. It was gone. The backpack was still there, zipped closed. Sara came downstairs at 7:15 like normal. She made herself toast. She checked her phone, and then she looked up at me and said something I've never heard her say before, in a voice that wasn't quite the way she usually sounds. She said, "I think my essay is really going to stand out." She smiled when she said it. I don't know whose smile that was. I'm watching her right now from the other room. She's typing. She hasn't looked up in an hour. I don't know what's in that essay. I don't know what happened to that notebook. I don't know what was done to my daughter or who wrote those notes or how long it's been going on. But I'm going to find out, whatever it takes. If something like this has happened to someone you know, leave it in the comments. I read every one. Follow for more. There's always a next one.